Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We have been working on this Gottlieb Pro football, it seems like for forever. And we finally got it up and playing. If you didn't see our previous videos about it, go check those out. But now what we've got to do, what we've got left is cleaning up the Playfield and the Backglass and the cabinet. So this Playfield is in pretty good shape, but it's very dirty and all the rubber rings are old and need replaced. So what we're going to do is go ahead and disassemble it, clean it, put it all back together. So I'll set the camera up on a tripod so you can watch us take everything off, put everything back on it. Strangely, people seem fascinated by that. So because it's running at fast speed, because you know it's going to take me 5 hours, I can't put a 5-hour video up, so I'm going to run it at super fast speed to get us through it. I'll play some music for you while it's playing. So let's set up the tripod and we'll get into cleaning this thing. Okay, so that didn't take too long. The EMs, they just don't have as much on them. So now I'm going to turn off the power. You should never do this with the power on. I just do it with the power on because I'm trying to film a video and make it look, you know, at least a little bit interesting. But you can short stuff out. On the EMs, you're not going to really short anything out. You just make coils lock on and stuff. But on a more modern game, it's a pretty bad idea to work on it with the power on because you can short out circuit boards that cost $300 or $400. So anyway, I'm going to turn off the power and then I'm going to wet down the Playfield a little bit, clean it, hit it with the magic eraser, wherever there's wear. There's not really a ton of wear, it's just light wear. So it's just, there's dirt and stuff here and there. So I'll get it looking as good as I can. I'm not going to go crazy on it because I don't want to lose any paint. Pretty much all the paint is still there. The only wear area is right down here where the ball falls in the outlane, but we're going to not even worry about that. On the actual playfield, there's hardly any paint loss at all. So I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to clean the stand-up switches with a light file. And after I get it all clean, we're going to wax it. Wax. We use like Carnauba car wax. One thing in particular that I need to clean is these pop bumpers. I wonder if they're live whenever the game's in game over. Oh, we're not in game over. That's the whole thing. I'm on ball 3. Huh. Let's see if I can get it in game over. Okay, now it's in game over. Okay, so yeah, so I can clean these stand-up switches. But anyway, these pop bumpers, which aren't active now, that's good. They have these little mylar skirts around them, and what happens is dirt gets trapped under them, and it grinds the paint off. So you have 2 ways that you can deal with that. You can take them off, but you'd have to remove the whole pop bumper to do it. Or you can clean them. You know, you need to get all the dirt out from underneath them and get them clean. So I'm going to clean them up as good as I can, get them looking a lot better. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. We are getting there. So I'll leave this set up so you can see us clean it. we are going to work on the back glass. You can see that somebody's already touched it up, I think, because like the skin tones look all kind of weird. They're kind of mottled looking. And then there's a bunch of spots where you can see the bulbs right through the glass. So that's got the change. The whole title's flaked off. So we're going to pull it out and look at the back and see if we can get it looking better. This part here where the light comes through will be the hardest because it'll have like a almost like a marbleized look after you paint it, but it's better than it is now, so we're going to have to try it. So I'll pop it out. So this is how it looks from the back, and I was wrong. Nobody's touched it up or anything. Still in original chipped or flaked condition. But you can see how there's just everywhere that the light shines through, there's problems. The title's the worst, and the two main football players is bad. Thankfully, though, the cheerleader was saved. And then some of the numbers over here. So we're not going to make it look perfect. It won't look new, but we should be able to make it look better than this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly clean where these windows are. And they're all in pretty good shape, so that shouldn't take off any paint or anything. So I'm going to clean that up the best I can, very carefully. And I'm going to try to clean off some of this. This is, if you look on the back box, there are little spots where there's foam that was on the light boards that when it was forward, it didn't agitate the glass. But over time, the foam actually interacts with the paint and screws up. So I'm going to take some of that off if I can get it off. If I can't, we'll just have to leave it. But and then I'm going to clear coat the whole back of this with triple thick. So triple thick will make it all locked in where it won't get any worse. And that'll stop the problem, but then we'll have to try to make it look more cosmetically presentable with some paint. So I'll clean it up first. We have clear coated it. You can see the sheen, the shine on the back of it. See the lights reflecting on it? Okay, so it's all very shiny now. We put the triple thick on it, and that has stopped any of the paint from continuing to flake off. So you could leave it like this and just put it back on the machine, but everywhere there's a spot, you can see the light bulb shining through like we were looking at earlier. Excuse me. So there are for people that are wanting to do this at home, there are a couple considerations to make. So we use triple thick, which is what you always want to use. It's like a really thick glaze that they use for pottery. And the first thing that you need to think about is whether or not you want to paint over the score windows. Does this guy know I'm recording in here? You want to paint over the score windows. So let me pull it up so you can see what I'm going to be talking about here. Okay. See that's a good little view there. See the sheen? Okay. See how it's kind of dull right there? I'm looking at these lights reflecting here. See how it's kind of dull and then it's clear? See that? Okay, see how it's dull there and now they're clear? Dull, clear. So what's going on there is whenever I painted it, those are like the flash spots. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. Okay, so what you need to decide is there are 3 different ways to do the score windows. Because your problem is if you paint over the score windows, they're supposed to be clear, but you just put paint on them. So like I just put triple thick clear coat on them. So they've got it gives it like a Coke bottle effect. Let me see if I can find a way to illustrate it for you. And not break the glass on video. That would be god awful. Let me see. What have we got that we could look at? You know what we've got? We've got our business card. That's what we've got. That's not a great example. Okay. See the light reflecting off of it. See how it's not smooth. So when you look through those windows, you're going to see a little something going on. Especially when there's a light bulb behind it, it shows up a little bit. So you're going to see that it has clear coat on the back of those windows. It will not look exactly like it looked originally, but as you can see, it's still clear. I mean, you see right through it. Okay? So because of that effect, some people do not like painting over the score windows. In my opinion, you paint right over them, just like we did here. And then you leave it. It's not going to be perfect, but you can see right through it. It's fine. So you've got two other options. One of the options is you can carefully tape over just the clear spot with painter's tape. So you can very carefully tape over just what you don't want paint on, which is the clear spot, because you have to paint this because that's paint. It'll flake off if you don't, right? So you can carefully tape over that and then spray it and then peel the tape off, and then that way there's no paint on the window. Clear coat on the window. But if you do that, usually you can see a little line where the tape stopped and the paint started. And then also, if you get tape on any of the paint, it'll probably peel off your loose and possibly flaking already paint in the first place. You know, so it takes forever to do it right. And then whenever you're done, it's probably going to have a little line where you can see where the tape was and wasn't. Okay, but some people would prefer to do that. And then other people, what they'll do is, once it's like this, they'll take a razor blade and very carefully you cut off the clear coat that is on the window. So you literally take a razor blade and scrape all this clear coat off right up to the edge, and so that you get it back down to where it's just glass with no clear coat on it. But the problem there is it takes forever, and you have to, again, you end up with a line because you have to stop somewhere. So you have to stop right at the edge of the paint, and then you have to be very accurate so that, because if that razor blade slides over this paint for just a second, you just cut the paint off of the glass too. So in my opinion, the way to do it is how I've done it here. Just clear coat right over the damn windows. Don't even worry about it. The stuff dries clear. You can see up here, I don't know if you can see it, but it's got a little more going on these to where it's not quite perfectly clear. There's a little bit of a Coke bottle thing going on. But folks, this glass is already not perfect, so we're just trying to save it, and by clear coating it, we just saved it. It's not going to flake any worse. So when you do that, the way to do it is, like I was saying, see the reflections, how it's shiny here, and here it's kind of dull. That's because that's overspray. So whenever you paint, if you haven't painted much with spray paint, you always have a wet edge, you know. So when you paint, this part's wet, and then it's kind of dusty and dry looking towards the edge of where the paint came out, because there just wasn't as much paint. It's more overspray, right? So when you paint, you want to overlap your wet edges so that it's all wet as you go down, right? So the way to do it on something like this is your last shot of the clear coat should be over these windows so that it all goes on wet and all dries smooth. The reason for that is if you had a wet I don't know if you want to call that wet, but what was the word I used a minute ago that was perfect? I said this is kind of flashed looking. Anyway, this is where it's thick and it got nice solid paint and it laid down nice, right? You want that all over the window. If you say I spray it and I spray like half of it, and then this is overspray, and then I go back and I spray this, and this is like this, and then this is overspray. If you do that right on the window where the break is in the window, you'll see it. So whenever it dries, part of it will look real clear, and part of it will look a little cloudy because it's got overspray on it. So whenever you do it, you want your last, you know, you're just basically spray painting over all of this, keeping a wet edge the whole way. And then whenever you're done, you go back over that one more time, back over that one more time, and you want it all wet, and it will dry nice and clear like this did. So once you've done that, like I said, you won't have to worry about the paint flaking anymore. You've basically saved it. Some people will take a brand new backglass, like a good looking backglass, and clear coat it, even if nothing's wrong with it, just so that it won't flake in the future. I don't do that because there is a slight chance, there are horror stories out there, that whenever you paint these, sometimes you'll get an issue where it will make the paint peel up. I've never had it happen to me, but people have posted on the internet about it a lot. They would paint a backglass and then they go back, and something to do with the temperature or something, all of that crap has came off while it dried, and it'll lift up areas of the paint and everything. So in other words, there is a minor, slight chance that you will damage the backglass whenever you triple thick it. So if you've got a really nice one that's in perfect original shape, I would not triple thick it. Just take care of it. Keep it in a temperature controlled environment. Don't store the machine with the backglass in it out in an outbuilding or something. You're asking for trouble. Because basically what happens is the heat, you know, whenever the glass goes through hot and cold cycles, the glass contracts and expands, and the paint does too, but it does it at a different rate. So the glass will contract, and then the paint maybe didn't contract as much, and then whenever the glass expands, the paint doesn't expand as much, and eventually it lifts the paint off of the backglass. That's what the issue is. Whenever you put triple thick on it, it basically puts a big, you know, it makes it all one big piece. So anyway, that's my technical belief, at least. So once you have it cleared, now we need to try to make it look a little better. So we need to make it look more like it's supposed to look, because all of the areas that have flaked off are now going to give us problems. So what you need to understand about it is there's about 3 different ways to do it once you have it this far, and once you've decided what you want to do with your score windows. Like I said, I would just leave them. I wouldn't do it. I'd just paint right over them. And I did this one too. Psst, no problems. But now you got about 3 different ways you can go. Okay. So the first thing you need to understand is this gray part. This was all silk screened on. All of the colors were silk screened on separately, and then this gray part was silk screened on last. And that's called the masking. And so basically everywhere that it's gray, light won't shine through it. So on the back you get a better example, a better idea of what's supposed to light up. On the front, it's harder to tell because everything's painted. It's got a lot more going on, right? But on the back, you can see what's what. So here where it says point score and these area around the windows, that's white paint, and that should light up white. The point score is actually black, and the letters are white, you know. But if you look, the black doesn't have the masking over it and probably lights up. So you're going to get a lit up looking black. This area of it just has a little bit of a mark there. Whenever it's minor like that, don't worry about it. But we're not going to touch that up. The problem that you get whenever you touch it up is you're going to see every spot that was touched up. There's no way around that, because you're dealing with opaque and translucent, you know. And we're trying to get rid of transparent, right? So up here's another good example. So these are the match numbers. So you've got, where's 10? You get 0 and 10, right? And they've got a little bit of damage, but it's so minor I probably won't mess with those, considering what we're dealing with here. I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on. 20 looks decent. 30 is a little screwed up. Okay. 40 is decent. 50 is gone. 60 is gone. 70 is decent. 80 is decent. 90 is decent. Okay. So on the front side, all of those are hidden in different spots. And you'll find too on these back glasses that certain colors fade and screw up more than other colors. Like for instance, what's happened on this one is a lot of the red is messed up. So where it says Pro Football, that's like almost white, but that originally would have been red. See the edge of the guy's jersey here? You can see how the red on his shoulder has faded to like a pink. That's what's going on with all of this. So this right here, that looks pink, but originally that would have been red. Okay. It's faded horribly. Here's a good example. It's how his helmet, the top is red where it was in the frame, but everywhere it's been exposed to the light, it has faded to like a peach color, like a really light pink. Okay. So depending, see, like the 90 was in this flesh tone, and it's perfect. The 80, the 70, and the 40, you can see there with a little bit of light coming through them. They're all in decent shape. They had a little bit of problems, but we're probably just going to leave that. The 10 and the 0 down here were the same way. The 20 is all right, but the 30 is a little messed up. So whenever there's no light coming through it, I'm running out of hands here. Let me find something I can block the light off with. You can just hang it up against the wall. Okay, so when there's no light coming through it, you cannot see those numbers. Okay? Whenever a little light comes through it, you can see them, right? So the way it works, and you know, this is all very simple stuff that everybody probably understands, but I'm just trying to be pedantic as hell about it so that everybody knows what we're doing and can follow along if you've got one of your own. So on the back box there are these little places where there are lights. So if this light comes on for the match, it will light up a circle that big on the back glass, and it just happens that that's right behind the area that has the 70, you know, or whatever. And so it's just big enough to light it up, and it won't light up anything but those two digits because everything else is masked out. Okay? So you've got three ways to do it, and you've got a couple things to think about. The first thing that you have to think about is it's going to look one way when it's not lit up, and it's going to look another way when it is lit up. So that 80, see, 80, right? If you can get the paint to match to where it looks perfect when it's not lit up, that's probably your best bet, because you're not going to get it to look perfect when it lights up because you're going to have different thicknesses of paint. So like the peach here on the guy's arm that used to be red, I'm not going to be able to paint that red again because there's no way to make it all red. So I'm going to try to match that faded color because that's the best I can hope for, right? Same thing with the name. Okay, so how do you do it? How do you make it look better? There's about three ways. The first way that I've seen people do it is my least favorite, and it's called the LED method. It's similar to what people would do with LEDs that I've complained about in the past. They will take big sheets of Mylar or colored transparencies or translucent sheets, whatever, you know. You can get them for stage lighting, you know, if you've ever worked backstage on anything. They have these spotlights and things, and you can buy film that goes in front of them that's colored, and that's how they do like a red light on stage, a blue light, a green light, and you can get those in like 200 different colors. So some people will buy those and they will put them behind parts that are faded. So for instance, you might get a red one and put it behind there, tape it on the glass, and then whenever this lights up, it will light up red everywhere that's missing. I don't like that at all. I don't think it looks good at all. And you run into the problem that you see with LEDs, which is people will put like LED lights behind a back glass that are colored, and it's crazy to me. So they will put like a light, you know, this guy's face is peach, so they'll put like that's a bad example. The guy's jersey's red, right? So they'll put a red light behind it because his jersey's red. So we're going to make that light up red, and it'll make the colors pop. They always say that. But what it does really is it makes everything the same damn color. It makes his shirt red, all of the highlights red, his face red, the stripe on the thing red, and now everything has a red tint to it. So on this, you can't really do that. If you put like just a big colored sheet of Mylar here to make it all one color, that's not how it's, I mean, it looks bad in my opinion. Sometimes you can get away with it a little bit, like up here where the yellow is flaked off or whatever, or I guess that was like the peach or whatever. If you had something that was that color, you could put it behind it. It doesn't really look good. But you can do that. So it would probably look better than nothing at all, right? So that is an option. So that's one option. I usually don't do that. I don't think I've ever done that. Another option is you can take paints like we paint the Playfield with, just acrylic paints, mix them together, get the color matched as well as you can, and then repaint the places that are flaked away. So repaint the stripe on his helmet, repaint the lightning bolts on his helmet, and then whenever it lights up, it'll be the right color, and you won't see the light bulbs, and you will see a clear delineation where the one color stops and the other color starts. But the problem that you have with that method is that you see all the brush strokes. So if the paint is just like if I paint this guy's face that's all screwed up, and I take peach or you know, a pink flesh tone, and I repaint his face, well, I just covered up all of the holes so the light won't shine through. But whenever the light does light it up, the parts that have a hole only have one layer of paint, and the parts that, did I just get paint? Did paint just come off on my hand? I know it's just a reflection. The parts that get paint only have it single thickness, but the parts that still have paint have it double thickness. So whenever it lights up, you're going to see little spots all over his face everywhere that it's flaked. It'll just be the right color, so you don't have a bare naked light shining through, but it doesn't look right, you know. But that's kind of an issue that you're going to have no matter what you do. So this is the way that I usually do it. I touch up the colors like that. So I mix paint, I repaint all the stuff that's missing. I see the big numbers on his shirt, that's one color. And you see the other stuff isn't missing, so you don't have to touch it up. And every little bit that you get back, even though it has that weird look whenever it's lit up that I'll show you here in a minute, it looks really good when it's not lit up. And when it's lit up, it looks eh. But what are you going to do? I mean, the thing's destroyed. So there is a third option. The third option is that you do it with an airbrush. So you carefully tape off the areas, and then you paint them with an airbrush. You still run into the same problem though, where whenever it lights up, the places that have one layer of paint are lighter than the places that have two layers of paint. And the more layers of paint you put on in either method, either by hand or with an airbrush, the more paint you put on, the less light shows through. So you also have that option. I guess that would be a fourth option. What you could do is paint his face back, and it looks good with the lights off. So you just paint gray masking over his face. So now it never lights up, and it always is the right color, but the back glass is dark as hell whenever the lights are off. I usually don't do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint back in all of the missing colors, and I'm going to try to get it to look real good with the lights off. I mean, with the lights on. Well, with the lights behind it off, right? Whenever it's dark, I want it to look really good. But whenever it's illuminated, it's not going to look perfect. It'll look better than this though. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to mix up paint, match the missing colors, and then like a big coloring book, a big paint by number set, we're going to paint back in everything that's flaked away. So I'll grab my paint and show you how we do it. The first thing I think we'll do, maybe we'll do his leg there. See how the blue went away there a little bit. So I'll get some paint, we'll mix it up, and we'll start painting it in. The good thing is that on most of these back glasses, there's only 5 or 6 colors. So once you mix 5 or 6 different colors, you've mixed everything on the back glass, and once you've touched up, like this is the back of his pant leg, I'll touch that up, and then there'll be a couple other little places that are that same color that I'll touch up, and then I'm done with the blue. And then you move on and you do the skin tone. There's just a few places that are the skin tone. Once you paint that, you're done, you move on. But it's not going to look perfect. One of the other advantages of us clear coating it beforehand is, since we're using acrylic paint, in the future, if somebody doesn't like the bang up job I'm going to do, they can wipe it off and it'll be back to this, right? So I'll grab the paint and we'll mix up a couple colors, and I'll show you how that works. So there are two blues. There is a light blue and a dark blue used for shadows and stuff. Okay, all of the dark blue looks pretty good, but some of the light blue, especially on his leg here, is messed up. So all of these are my different blues that I have. I have an entire box of different colored paint. So what I do is I go through and I just see which one of them's close right out of the bottle. So this one would be a decent match for this, but it's nowhere near our light blue. This one is nowhere near the right kind of shade, right? This one is nothing like it, so we need to go much lighter. This one, and I'm not going by the label, I'm going by the actual paint as you can see it through the plastic. That's pretty close there. This one is a little bit too green, but it's close. This one, see, now that one I really like, but it's too dark, so you might have to lighten that one up, but that one looks like the same exact thing to me. This, of course, is nowhere near. A little too gray. Well, too blue. See how strange that looks? That's blue. It's obviously blue, but then you hold this up next to it, and now this looks blue and that looks green. So you got to kind of get good at seeing that kind of stuff. Of course, that's way too dark. And again, this one's too blue. That one's more green. So I think our best match was that one. So let's pop the top off and see if it looks anything like it with the top off. What I like to do is just kind of lay it next to it and see what I think. Man, that's really close. Just right out of the can. It's a little bit too vivid, and they dry a little bit darker than they look when they're wet. So to get it perfect, what I would do is take some of this and mix in a little bit of that little bit more dull. Let's see what I had here. Maybe something like this where it's too blue. Or what was the one that I said it's too gray? Where's that one? So this is much more blue than that's more green. So if you mix this in, you're going that way, you know. So this is kind of the right mix of blue and green, but it's just a little bit too vivid, you know. If it was a little more dull, it'd look a little better. So what can I do about that? Sometimes if you can find one that's just a little more dull looking, you can throw a little bit of that in and it'll knock it down a little bit. The other trick you can do is if you add the color that is exactly opposite it on a color wheel, just a teeny tiny bit, it'll knock it down a little bit. And so by knocking it down, I mean it's the paint looks too bright, like it's too vivid. You want it to look a little more dull. So the opposite of blue, let me think, would be orange. Is that right? I got that right? Red, orange, blue. or would it be red? No, it'd be orange. I think. It'd help if I had a color wheel here, right? So if you put just a little teeny tiny, I mean like, no, I don't mean a drop, I mean like a smidgen, a smudge, a pinch of orange, it would knock it down a little bit. But I think what I'm going to do, another thing you can do is you can take some of this and paint it on the front and let it dry and see how it looks. So we're going to do that first, and then see if we need to manipulate it a little bit after that. So I've got a bunch of little paint brushes here. Let me shake this a little bit so it's nice and even. If you get the color wrong, you want to be a little bit too dark. If you're too light, it'll stick out like a sore thumb. But if you're a little bit too dark, it just looks like it's worn or aged or dirty a little bit. All right, so this guy, his shoulder here has just one little speck that's off. So we'll paint it like that. And I don't know if you can tell from way up there, but it looks just a little bit too vivid. Like it's a little bit too bright. Now when it's on the back, it'll look a little different, but. So anyway, we'll let it dry for a second and then see how it looks. Okay, so the camera's not picking it up as good as I can see it here in person, but basically this is too blue and too dark. It's not even all the way dry yet. And then I tried another one that looked pretty good, but it's a little bit too light. So that one's a little bit too light, that one's a little bit too dark. I'm gonna mix the two together and I think we'll be all right. So let me mix it together and we'll try a new color swatch. So I mixed it together, I got a pretty good match. I put a couple coats on and let it dry a little bit. It's still drying a little bit, but you've got two different things that you have to think about. So this is the area with the guy's pants. That's not meant to light up. So we're repainting in what's missing, and then we're going to put masking over it, you know, like a gray or a black or something over it so that light doesn't shine through it. But then down here you've got areas that are supposed to light up that have flaked, that are that light blue. So everywhere you put, like where I put that back in, when the light shines through it, you'll see that spot. There's no way around it. So you can either do it like that, where you just repaint the little spot that's missing, and just, you know, it'll look like a little dot whenever the light shines through it. Or if it's particularly bad and it's kind of like near an edge, sometimes you can paint it kind of like in a swoop or something where it almost looks like a shadow, just to kind of disguise it a little bit. So here's the guy's pants. You can see how it doesn't perfectly match. A little bit too dark. It's just slightly off, but it did fill it in pretty good. And then down here, you can see how you can see that spot there. Whenever the light shines through it, that will show up. And right here, I repainted that, and see how I kind of just made it curl around and grab the other part, and I did it all kind of smooth to kind of mimic how the shading's done and everything. And so, you know, that may kind of course I'm no artist, so but it may kind of hide it a little bit where you think that maybe it was supposed to be like that. So that's our light blue. So the next thing I want to tackle is where it says Pro Football. Originally that was red, like we talked about. But it has faded so much that now it's just the palest of pink. This is the same. That's coming out like a neon look in our camera here, but it's not. In person it's just red. Or maybe it was, maybe I can't tell, but it was red or orange or something, but it was a very bright color, and it's gone now. So since not all of it's gone, see how half of it's still there? You don't want to try to match repaint it the original color, because it'll just, you'll see all of these spots. Now this is done in such a kind of even way that you probably could do that and it would look all right. It would just look like it was made like that, that it had like a kind of design to it. But yeah, you could do that. You could paint it all red, and then it would kind of have a worn look to it, like it was designed like that. But we're not going to do that. I'm just going to paint, well, Ah, that's interesting. Let me eyeball it a little bit. How would that look if just those parts were red? You know, red doesn't really paint very well, so I don't think that would really be a good idea. Red, it's hard to get red right, so I think I'm just going to match the faded color, try to disguise it a little bit. You've also got the same thing on his helmet, you know, and that wouldn't look very good red, so I have to mix it for that anyway. So I'll get some, it's kind of like a tan, like a sand color. I'll try to mix that with some white and see what I come up with, but I'll see what colors I can find that somewhat matches that faded color. So I did just a little bit. It's putting the color back in, and it's a little darker, which is, like I said, is how I kind of like it. I don't like it when it's a little bit lighter. It just all makes it stand out. Of course, this is standing out too, but I think it'll look mucho bueno. So I've got to do his arm. I've got to do all that. Now, whenever you've got his arm is those two numbers there. Well, a couple things. If it's this, like where it says Pro Football, you can paint over everything. You can get, you don't have to stay within the lines. You can get it all way over here and on this, because none of this lights up. So you can paint the whole thing. So if you had an airbrush, that would probably end up looking really good if you were doing it with an airbrush. Of course, we're doing it with just a paintbrush, so you're going to see brush strokes, but it is what it is. Over here, though, the problem that you've got is it no longer properly makes the numbers. So what you kind of need to do, and it's kind of tough to do, but you kind of need to paint it, and then with a black, remask out where the numbers should be, so that whenever it lights up and actually says something. If that lights up right now, you can't read it. But if you can't do it with black right now, because it has to, the top color has to be that faded red that's like a tan now, you know, so it's just tricky. And like I was saying, on the 40 and the 80, I'll just leave it because it's just a minor little issue. But those two there, we got to do a little something with. So we'll work through it a little bit. So I got a pretty good match, and I went in and I basically painted all the little spots back in. I even had to outline the numbers on his shirt, one of the guy's shirts. And then up here, I just tried to do it very carefully so that I can kind of tell where the numbering is supposed to be. So I'm going to have to go in and, you know, mask it in reverse so that it looks like the number. So let's see what the front looks like. So I'll turn you sideways here. We're going to need some focus, though. Focus, there we go. So it was his shirt. Good Lord, focus. It doesn't want to cooperate, folks. We'll do it sideways. And it was the stripe on his helmet. It was the title lettering. The arm came out all right. You can see there how the color's a little bit off, but it'll look good with the lights out at least. And then it was the trim around those yellow numerals. So we will do yellow next. Yellow is hard to do because it goes on thin, and there's a ton of different colors of yellow, and it's hard to get it right. But we'll see if we can get a good match. Basically, we're just going to do the same thing, pick out all of our yellows, and then see which one's the closest. And then if we have to, adjust it a little bit by mixing the other yellows in. So it's all the same thing. You just go through and you do each color that's flaked like that. Yellow. So we've got the yellow going on. Now, like I said, yellow's hard to do. It never looks that great. But you can see you got our ball and play thing looking pretty good. There was a bad spot right there. I did A little bit on the tilt, and then the worst was the guy's jersey. So with the yellow in, I think I'm going to stop, and the reason is the only thing that's left is there's a little bit left on this guy's uniform, but most of what's left is skin, and I have determined that there is no good way to do it. You can touch it up where it makes it look a little better when it's off, but man, when it lights up, it just looks god awful. It looks like the people have leprosy or something. So we're gonna install this in the game and see what it looks like. I think it'll look a lot better than it did, and you can see that I like put a little masking with black on the back just so that whenever it does light up, it'll at least look like a 50 and a 60. Okay, so I'll pop it in the game and we'll see what it looks like. Alright, so we put it back in. This is what it does when you just have turned it on. So, you know, the top, everything looks good. Oh, the glass is a little... Usually you can slide these a little bit to get them more centered with the reels. There we go. A lot better. Okay, so it's kind of in between, so we'll have to start a game to actually get the look. Okay, so ball in play, ball number one. As you can see, the players are still a little muddled, but remember how it was. His jersey was all screwed up. They're not anymore. His helmet was all screwed up. Both the stripe and the excuse me, the lightning bolts were missing. So we're down, it's just his face basically. Things aren't perfect. And did I mention earlier, I think I did, the saving grace of the whole Backglass is that the cheerleader's in perfect shape. No problems. That's what you want. Alright, so really quickly, I'll just play through it a little bit so that we can see how the glass looks in game over. Ball number two. Oh. It won't go to ball three unless it won't go to the next ball unless you score something. All right, so there's ball three. Now that was one of the ones that was completely screwed up, but it's came back nicely. All right. I've actually got to clean the glass a little bit, but we've got our game over, lights up good. Our pro football is lighting up good. Except for that top bulb again. There's a bulb up here too. Remember that one kept messing up. There's something going on with the socket I'll have to mess with a little bit, maybe from the back. One of our match numbers has lit up good. Let's run through all the match numbers and see how they look. So there's 80. If I step through this little relay, I should be able to get it to go to the next one, maybe, possibly. Remember what I said about trying not to electrocute myself? Okay. All right. So there's 70. There's the 60. Not the greatest in the world. There's the 50, same. 40, 30, 20, 10, 0, 90, 80 again. Okay, so let's turn off the lights to see how bad it is. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right, not bad. This isn't something that shows up on camera very good. Here in person it looks better than it looks on the camera right now, because since the light is shining through where there's no glass, I mean where there's no paint like on their face, it like really draws your attention to that. But here in person it's not like that. You don't see that any more than you see the jerseys and everything. So it looks pretty good in person. But here's what it comes down to, folks. that back glass was trashed. It was junk. It was something to take out and hang on the wall, and it wouldn't even look that good on the wall, right? So we had to do something to it. It's a little bit better now, you know. We certainly didn't make it perfect. It's maybe if it was a 3 before, now it's a 5 or something like that, you know. But we made it as presentable as we could. So there you go. I hope you have enjoyed the video. We've got the thing up and running. I'll do a separate video of us playing it and going over the instructions and rules and everything, but we've got it doing its thing, ready to be played and go off to someone else's game room. So we've got a couple little things like that light bulb I was talking about. I got to put the glass back on it and the back door back on it. But I think it came out pretty good. What do you think? Leave your comments below. Give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to show you all this crap. And we will see you on the next video. Hope you enjoyed it. So after taking the shackle off the back, look, there's a cut mark on it from where they cut the lock off. Oh, there must be a great story behind this lock.